What's going on? It's a special Thursday night edition of the Platform Sports Talk Show. I am your boy Smooth, along with
Funny.
because when it's about sports,
It becomes our business.
and business definitely has picked up. Welcome to Thursday, Bunny. Thursday evening. How you doing?
I know Thursday's a hump day, but that's okay because somebody just had a birthday.
What?
That's related.
Who? Who had a birthday?
Smooth.
That's what's up. Yeah. So for all those who showed me love this past Tuesday on my birthday, thank you very much. Definitely appreciate all the love, all the comments. Just taking time out of y'all day to show your boy some love on a Tuesday. Hey.
Hey.
So unfortunately, here in St. Louis, all the county restrictions happened on my birthday. So I wasn't able to go ahead and get a little bit wild. But that's why we got the weekend for, baby. So
Did you? So whoa. Because of the county restrictions, you were limited to where you could go publicly, but you still could do stuff in your own home.
Exactly, and you already know what I got at the crib, so you know it goes down the getaway, Bunny. You know it goes down.
Oh my gosh. I'm not gonna let you incriminate yourself, but if you want to, be my guest.
Hey, just know that it's the getaway for a reason. So, shouts out to Stan. He couldn't be here tonight. He's working legally, getting that paper, so he's doing his thing. But usually we have her on as our hockey/baseball insider towards the end of the show. But this is a Thursday night edition. So we had to go ahead and switch things up and bring her on a little bit earlier. So, Joe, what's going on with you?
Not much. How are you guys?
Man.
Hey, Joe and baby Joe.
There we go.
Yep.
Any moment, something could go down.
Joe, drop it like it's hot.
It could. Yeah, it's scary. We're finishing the nursery this weekend, so we're excited about that.
All right.
That's what's up. Yeah, I think I saw.
So your Black Friday shopping gonna be all baby shopping?
My mother-in-law has been taking care of that. We've been getting Amazon packages every day, I feel like, outside. So between that and the baby shower, she's been taking care of all that. So very thankful for her.
Yeah, I think I saw some early photos of the room. I don't think I saw a whole lot, but I saw a little preview of the room. So definitely look forward to seeing the baby Bova room.
Yeah, the before and after picture is gonna be literally night and day because that room was hideous whenever we moved in. So it's gonna look a lot better. But yeah, I think I did post like floor pictures because Brendan did the floors. So really excited about those, and he did a really good job.
That's what's up. So, once again, we are usually your Wednesday night sports delight, but we here on the Thursday night edition. Make sure, disclaimer, make sure y'all go ahead and give us a follow. Y'all see on the screen, on Facebook, on Twitter. Go on YouTube, subscribe, click on that
bell.
Ding. There you go. But you still got to find that bell, too. What's going on with you?
I know. Because the only place I was looking is at the Goodwill. Most people don't keep a bell around their house.
Yeah. And also on Facebook. Oh, sorry. Click on that bell. You know the whole spiel now for all our faithful followers.
Right.
Y'all know what's happening. But also make sure y'all like the stream, whether you're on Facebook, you're on Twitter, on YouTube. Go ahead and hit that like button as well.
Like button.
Let everybody know. Let the whole world know what's going on.
Look, like us, like we like you.
Hey, it's that simple because all we do is give y'all great content every freaking week, and the party does not stop tonight. Now, we know it's a whole lot going on that we're competing against tonight. You have the versus going on, in which
is that gonna be recorded or
yes,
we gonna watch it again?
Yeah, every versus is always recorded on IG, so you can always watch it anytime you want to.
Okay.
So then you also have the Fresh Prince reunion going on tonight.
They actually dropped it last night as a surprise on HBO Max.
Oh, really? See, if I would have known
they did a surprise because everybody thought it was going to come today. I just saw it on People while I was watching that.
You know what? That is such a Will Smith thing to do. I ain't surprised. And then, of course, you have Thursday night football, Arizona Cardinals, Seattle Seahawks going on later on in a matter of minutes. So we have a whole lot to compete against, but we're going to still show y'all why this is still must-see television.
I'm just saying, we still worked it, though. We can compete against them, but still show us love. I'm telling you, will not be disappointed.
Yes, show us love in the club, like Usher.
I forgot what a club looked like.
Man, you know, it had lights in there and people and like a turntable in there and a dance floor, drinks. You know, it was something like that, you know. But like you say, it's been such a long time ago. Kind of need to get reacclimated a little bit, you know. I mean, even me as a DJ, I got to be like, dang, what's last call for alcohol mean?
Oh wow.
Hey, you know what I think about it, Joe? Did you call yourself during your younger years a club head? You used to always go out kick it, you and Brennan?
No, not at all. Like, I can honestly say we've probably never been to an actual quote unquote club before.
Wow.
We're more just like we're more sports bars people, you know. That's how we are. But maybe when we went to Nashville a couple of years ago, I guess you can say we technically went to a club, but other than that, no, that's not us.
Well, you know what, Joe, you lucked up because you being with baby Joe and all, and we're in a quarantine and pandemic, a lot of stuff is closed. You didn't miss out on anything, sports bars or not. Everybody's at home for the most part, so you lucked up this year. So congratulations.
Yeah. I didn't say it's like it's a crappy situation, but it was like kind of blessed. It sounds silly to say we've been blessed that we got pregnant during this year, you know, like being at home, being safe and everything. So, like I said, silly to say that we were blessed, but that's how I kind of feel. So it's been nice.
The good and the bad, that's all I always say. So
yeah.
I get you.
Oh, let's see here. My mother, Bunny, my mother is watching right now, and my mom says that she has an old-fashioned ceramic bell for you.
Oh, not a ceramic bed. Well, come on with it then. Come on, mama. Let me go get that off your hands. I'll set it aside if I have to. We're going to follow safe COVID precautions, but we need that bell. So, yes, ma'am.
So, shouts out to Mom. Thank you for the wonderful birthday gift, that lovely peach cobbler that she made that I posted on social media, and knowing I can have it.
You don't even share a corner?
All right. Maybe a small piece of crust, okay?
Oh, you know we love the crust. People fight over that crust and that peach cobbler, you know. Dude.
Yes, but thank you very much once again for everybody tuning in. Usually your Wednesday night sports delight, but we're here on a special Thursday night edition, competing with a whole lot of shows. But I think our upcoming guest, he's gonna make sure this is must-see TV as well. We had him on a few months ago. He's actually been on 2 times. This will be a 3rd time, of course. But the 2nd time around, we had little issues with the technology. But everything is much better now. It's clear, it's clean, and we are ready for him. This man works for the St. Louis Sports Dispatch, sports columnist. He's a new pawpaw as well. Enjoying the last few months. Quarantine and everything with the little one and family.
Oh, it's baby fever. Watch out now, Smooth. Me your time again.
No, it already happened twice. I'm good.
You shut that down that fast? Sound like
hey, shut it all the way down.
You sound just like her. When I said, well, you can need a brother or sister. You was like,
No, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you, Lord. You blessed me with 2 wonderful kids.
Okay, well, when our guest comes on, I'm going to ask him if he's ready to get a brother or sister for his new one. But go ahead.
There we go. So without any further ado, everyone, let's show some love to our special guest for the 3rd time, because we're about to do it right, Mr. Benjamin Hochman.
Woo, woo! Big Ben.
Hello.
There he is.
The other Big Ben, I should say.
How you doing?
Hey, we are doing well. What's going on with you, man?
Fred, happy belated birthday. Joe, congrats on the little one. Bunny, nice to see you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Big Ben, since we're just talking about babies, and I posed a question to Joe, you know, she should have down. Smooth should have down for another one. What about you?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna keep like Drazen Petrovic on the 1991 New Jersey Nets. I'm gonna keep shooting.
Oh, okay. Yes. We're going to shoot for all basketball team. Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yo, keep shooting. I like that, man. Keep shooting. Keep shooting your shot.
Got to.
So, with that being said, like I brought up earlier, last time we tried to do a show and things went crazy. But we do appreciate you being able to be available and to come back so we can have a really good official show. So thank you very much, sir, for your time.
Thank you. You know what? For 3 times the charm, that's why.
I like it. I like it.
Yes. So with that being said, we know that we had this thing going on that's been going on strong and has came back again even stronger possibly, and that's the pandemic, that's COVID. How have things been for you throughout this whole pandemic?
Well, I mean, we had a baby, so that was awesome, but that's probably the only awesome thing. Yeah, I mean, from my sports world, everything's been turned upside down, just like in every world. I followed the Stanley Cup playoffs from this room, on Zoom, and the Cardinals season from this very desk, and being instead of being at the ballpark or being at the rink, I had Zoom interviews with the players and with the coaches and managers and stuff. Zoom is our norm now. It's been surreal, but like I was telling someone today on the phone, like they were asking about, like, has your job changed at all? I'm like, look, we still have a newspaper 7 days a week. We still have a website. We got to fulfill content. It doesn't matter what is or isn't happening in the sports world. We have to make it happen.
Most definitely. And then, like, was it already like during a pandemic in which y'all had to move buildings and that y'all had like a whole new building and everything for the Post-Dispatch?
Yeah, it was like right before. So I don't even really know much about the new building. I don't know where the vending machine is. I don't know what snacks are in there. I don't know what options I have. These are the important things, of course, at an office. So I'm basically working at home, and it's working. I hate to say.
Said it's working. Nice.
It's working.
So
Yeah.
I know you said that y'all do a lot of course, Zoom interviews. How are y'all able to set that up with certain players? Let's say like there was a guy that you in particular wanted to get in contact with via Zoom. How were you able to really get that to happen for your, maybe article that you're trying to do, or you're trying to get a good story going on?
That's a good question, because what we'll have basically our standard Zooms with the players that they set the interview someone one-on-one. There's basically 2 ways to go about it, and one is through the team itself. You reach out to their media relations, like I did it. I remember, I don't know why this came into mind, but like Brad Miller, he was hot for a minute there in the middle of the season, so I wanted to do a profile on him to have the readers really find out about this dude. And I was like, I wanted to ask him questions that the other outlets didn't get the quotes for, MLB.com, Belleville's newspaper, things like that. So I got a one-on-one interview with him on the phone. They set that up. And the other thing is, sometimes you, as a reporter, you just build relationships with people in sports, and sometimes you can just text them and they'll be cool with doing a phone call. So, sometimes I'll need John Mozeliak to comment on a trade or something, and I'll reach out to him, and he's always been good to me and some of the other guys and at the Post-Dispatch.
Nice.
Oh, okay, cool.
Nice.
Okay.
I'm sorry, real quick disclaimer for all those watching the show on Facebook, and maybe you may be under my personal page, or maybe under our special guest Benjamin Hochman's page, or Bunny's or Joe's. If you're leaving comments, we can't see it. You have to make sure that you leave all your comments under the Platform Sports Talk Shows page, and then you'll be seen on the screen. We can interact with you. If you have any questions, sports related, of course, any funny stories about our special guest, anything that you want to
Bring them on.
bring them on so we can interact. Cause that's what makes this show even better because we can interact with each and one of y'all. So do not be shy. Come and bring it throughout the whole evening as we have our special guest Benjamin Hochman join us via Zoom. All right, Bunny, did you have a question for him?
I did, but I'll wait. Well, I guess I may not wait. So, once the bubble, or in hockey, specifically the Blues, were eliminated in the playoffs, did you end up doing any follow up with any of those players, or it was pretty much done? And
yeah. So I personally, I don't think I spoke to any players. Maybe I'm trying to think because Pietrangelo, there was him going to that thing that happened, the captain of the team signing with another team. So we've got beat writers who are, their sole job is to cover that one team. So I know those dudes were covering the Blues and the Cardinals and the Billikens, the Zoo Tigers. So I don't think I did any interviews with any Blues specifically, but some of the beat writers did.
Okay.
And one of the beat writers was a former Rams beat writer. Then now he's with the Blues, Jim Thomas. Is that correct?
Oh,
yeah, Jim Thomas, JT. He tried to figure this out. He thinks it's true. He's the only human who attended every single St. Louis Rams game.
Really?
From 95 until when they left, and because he was the beat writer, and he, I guess they figured out because the players come and go, the executives come and go, the owner doesn't go to every game, and I think they changed radio guys. And then so anyway, that's Jim's claim to fame that he.
You tell me Randy Carricker did it? I feel like that guy, big Rams fan.
He had to suffer through some terrible football, so much, right, Joe?
Yeah, I feel so bad for every time he talks about it.
Early on,
so I'm happy at least the Blues won, for him, because he's always talks about the Red Wings and whatnot. So
so that was the thing with Jim Thomas here was he had such bad luck covering the worst team in the NFL, and then he takes over the Blues beat, and I think it was his second year. They won the Stanley Cup, so he got to experience that.
Got him the good luck charm for the Blues, huh?
Yeah. I think he wanted his name carved into the Stanley Cup, but they decided not to. And then they brought the cup to the event, and he tried to carve it in himself, and they stabbed his arm, and it was a whole thing.
Yeah, so now I think about it, I'm trying to figure out who's taking more of the credit. Is it one-on-one ESPN, or is it Jim Thomas who, in regards to the reason why the Blues won the whole thing?
Yeah, no, that's a very good debate. But clearly, I think we're all in agreement. It has nothing to do with the players or coaches.
No,
it's all about the
No, it's everybody else who didn't have a part in it, who just there for the ride.
Right.
Shouts out
everybody else claiming it.
Shouts out to Miss Williams. She says hi, Fred. Hi, Bunny.
Hey, Miss Williams.
Oh, and she also had a birthday the same day as me, Bunny.
Oh, that's right. Happy belated birthday, Miss Williams. Another kid on the cake, but for a beautiful person, we're not even counting.
There it is. All right, so up next, something that happened throughout this the pandemic, Ben, was
we still with
it. Right. Was you enjoying fatherhood? So how has that been going for you?
It's been awesome. It's funny. I have my, dream job. I'm a sports columnist for my hometown paper with the freedom to write about any team or any athlete I want to. But the most rewarding job I'll ever have, and it sounds like a line, but it's true, is being a father. And it's pretty awesome. And I'm learning new things every day. I'm learning what I've done well. I'm learning what I'm failing at, and I'm learning to live off very little sleep. But we're having a bunch of fun. And my wife Angela and my mother Josette and my dad Jared, my in-laws, everyone's just been helping out so much, which is crucial, as the parents on this panel know.
All
I'll
right.
tell you, like I tell everybody else with the newborn, it's only temporary. You will get sleep again. I promise. It's just temporary.
I hope you're right.
I
And
have lived through it, and I don't wear makeup. It was plenty of days it was bags under these eyes. Okay.
so,
Yeah, these here are Gucci bags.
oh, you know what? Speaking of which, Ben, so I know you already heard about the Fresh Prince reunion that actually popped on last night, but it's still on today, and then also the verses with Jeezy and Gucci Mane. Tell us your best Gucci Mane or Jeezy song.
I put on for my city. I put on for my city. Put on.
There
I
it is.
expected it.
There it
Okay,
is. There it is, folks. And that is our show for the night.
We should end on that. That was great.
man. Right?
That
Yeah, I'm a
is
Jeezy guy.
Tonight. You won, hands down. That's it right there.
That Fresh Prince thing, I mean, I sensed from our pre-show talk that all of us are from a similar generation, and Fresh Prince was a special show during my childhood. And I think Bunny, you were the one that said it was you must see TV for you as well, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'll
Love
never
that
forget during my days living with my mom back in when we was living back in Northwoods. Every Monday night, I had to make sure everything was done, my homework, whatever it was. I had to make sure I was available because Monday night, 7 o'clock. I had to make sure
NBC,
I was
Channel 5.
exactly NBC. I had to make sure I was from the tube to hear it dun 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 dun. Dun. Now this is a story all about how
All about
you
how-
already know.
Turn flipped upside down.
Yeah. So I had to make sure I was ready every Monday night for a great episode. And, you know, it just shows how wonderful of a show that was, that it didn't just reach one demographic. It reached so many demographics. And that's what a great show does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and moreover, you know, it's kind of interesting because a lot of the stuff we've been reporting on and talking about from this summer, I'm kind of getting serious for a second here, but with George Floyd and everything that's happened because of that and since then, I did think back to some episodes of Fresh Prince where there was one where the LA riots had just happened.
Right.
And they went down to an area and were helping clean, and Will was getting to know one of the guys, and there was some friction. I just remember, like, that was important that they would do shows. You know, they did silly comedy stuff every episode, no question, but they would throw in these episodes that talked a lot about race in America and harmony and things like that. And I was in middle school at the time, but I remember thinking that was pretty important.
And Joe, how much did the Fresh Prince happen in your household during your younger years?
Well, we gotta remember, I'm only 26.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, that is true. Yeah.
But once it was like reruns on Nickelodeon, that's something I would like fall asleep to at night all the time with Fresh Prince. It'd be hard to fall asleep once that theme song came on, but yeah.
This is kind of cool. So when I was a reporter covering the Denver Nuggets, I feel like I might have told you the story, maybe just in person or on the show. I apologize if I told it on the show last time, but everybody around the Denver Nuggets had a handshake. And I know this is common on a lot of sports teams, but I mean, it was a whole thing. And even myself and the beat writer and the PR guy who traveled with the team, we were like the two least important people, but we had a handshake too. And it was the Fresh Prince and DJ Jazzy Jeff, like the.
Oh, yeah.
And it was pretty cool because Sports Illustrated was doing an article about like I think it was the article about the art of the handshake in sports, or the high five. And he did a whole section about the Denver Nuggets and even mentioned me and the other guy in the article. He's like, even the beat writer and the PR guy have their own special handshake, and they do the Fresh Prince thing. It was pretty cool. I've always wanted to write for Sports Illustrated. I guess this is the close I'll ever get, was having a mention about a handshake.
Now,
Yeah,
maybe
it's too late. We still got time.
I was gonna
Still
say-
got right for them.
I was gonna say maybe they'll see this episode and then they'll get at you.
Yeah, have the right people tag them. Say,
Yeah,
how
right.
you been? How you been?
And did you watch the show Blossom after?
Yes,
Fresh
I
Prince?
did. Yes,
I did too. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did. Oh wow. Yeah.
I always had a crush on her friend named Six.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey,
Yeah.
who didn't have a crush on her?
I didn't because her brother Joey was supposed to be the cute one. Remember?
Whoa, whoa.
Yep.
Hey, those shows back in the day, man, they were pretty amazing.
I know, right?
Pretty amazing time, man. Television and the music during that era too was just unbelievable too.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, and Miss Williams says having a child teaches you that sleep is optional.
I like it. Thank you, Ms. Williams.
So, I believe I may have asked this question last time being, but of course our show was cut off. But something that we typically like to ask our guest is, when did you find your love for sports?
Oh wow, that's a great question, man. When did I find my love for sports? I mean, I think it was just kind of this kind of a whirlwind or cyclone that was first, second, third grade, and it involved within the cyclone you have baseball cards, you have Cardinals games, getting to go with your family every once in a while. You got KPLR Channel 11, and you're tuning in for a game, and you've got T-shirts that have remember the ones that had the large heads of the athlete?
Yeah.
Kevin or Nolan Ryan, and those were very popular at the time. So it was like all these like things in my world were sports related, and they were just so irresistible. And I also really liked writing. So I wasn't that good of an athlete. Let's not kid anybody here. It wasn't like I was gonna be a pro athlete, but even at a young age, like 14, I knew, maybe even younger than that, I knew that I wanted to do something in life involving sports and writing. And now my job is called sports writer. And I've made this cheesy joke before, but guess who has to listen to it now and endure it? But I said, my job is called sports and writing, two of my favorite things. It would be as if I had a job that was called cheeseburger eater, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air watcher. Like if that was my job, those two things, that's how blessed I am.
Perfect. And as a person that was following the Cardinals during your time, I'm pretty sure that was during that era when they had like the heat is on. They had them shirts had the heat is on. Recall them days?
Oh yeah.
Look at like the late 80s, early 90s when they were doing that thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I've got the VHS tape, The Heat is On, in the other room. 1985 Cardinals, and then the 87 Cardinals were it's called Heck of a Year. I don't know if they wanted to call it something else and had to just call it Heck of a Year. But then in 1982, a little before our time, Celebration, Kool and the Gang. That was the official song of the Cardinals. Official.
Right.
It's official.
You know what now?
Oh, you know
So
what?
you have a lot of sports memorabilia then. You talking about things from the 80s? Oh yeah, you have a lot.
And you know what? Now I think about it, Bunny. Maybe that's something the Cardinals are missing nowadays. Is we don't have that song. Like Joe, like remember the Blues? They had Gloria doing that run. Maybe the
That's
Cardinals,
still my ringtone.
like maybe the Cardinals are missing having that one song just to kind of like galvanate the whole city and the team.
If only, Fred, there was a song about putting on for your city.
Right.
Only.
Right.
He defaults right back to it.
You would think, you can have a song like that, and Bunny, I thought that Beam was going to sing, I'm so icy.
Oh, really? I said, hey, man, you could be icy too.
I'll take
Icy with baby drool, but you could be icy. I'm just saying.
Right. Touche, well played.
Once again, this is the Platform Sports Talk Show. I am your boy Smooth, along with
Buddy.
and
Jobo.
there we go, and special guest we have.
Hold on. Benjamin Hochman.
There you go.
That's hard. Am I supposed to introduce myself there?
Hey, you did it.
Let's try it again.
Hey, I'm about to say you already had it right, Ben. Let's try it again now. Here we go. Rewind. It's the Platform Sports Talk Show with your boy Smooth, along with
Bunny.
Joe Bell.
and our special. Hey, it's official. He is no longer a special guest. He just part of the show.
Exactly. Ben is very comfortable with us.
Hey, he has his own call and everything. So now people gonna be saying,
I know,
"Where's the root?"
Oh man, he knows he has his own little theme song he put on for his city. I'm like, man, it doesn't get better than this. Again, you are not a guest anymore. You are at home.
It is.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
Is official. So, Ben, as you were going through the ropes as a future off-the-chain sports writer, who would you say was some of your influences in regards to learning how to perfect your craft as a writer?
Yeah. Bernie Miklasz was the sports columnist for the newspaper when I was growing up. And I wanted to be Ozzie Smith, sure, but more realistically, I wanted to be Bernie Miklasz. And to be the guy that was hired to replace him is still surreal to me 5 years later. I really liked watching this. Again, this is almost cliche, but I loved watching SportsCenter and listening to what the guys and girls on there did, basically with words. You know, I mean, obviously there's highlights, but we loved it because people like Stuart Scott,
Yes,
Rich Eisen, Dan Patrick, Keith Olbermann, they were so great with words and putting words together, almost like poets or writers or even, you know, this is maybe too much, but maybe even like a lyricist, like a rapper. And I love that aspect of sports. And so watching ESPN and reading the newspaper, that kind of got me going.
And Joe, as Ben was talking about, you know, the Stuart Scotts on SportsCenter, was there a certain anchor on SportsCenter that you always tuned in, like to hear?
Not really on SportsCenter. Like right now, I love watching MLB Network. So I guess I could pick someone on there or whatever. But like, it's not because he's from St. Louis, but Greg Amsinger makes me laugh. He's such a clown. He's so funny, and but yeah, I like listening to him. And then I love how they have former players on there as well. I like hearing the different perspectives, kind of like how we enjoy listening to the BT or Rick and Keel with Danny Mac. That's always fun.
Yeah, that's definitely true. So, Ben, we had Steve Savard on the show a few months, but probably about a month or so back.
Months ago.
And it was a great episode. I was asking him questions about, of course, his time covering the greatest show on turf, and you saw it through the conversations we had with him, how he just started cheesing, reminiscing about those great times that he had when he started.
Yeah.
Of course, until after the greatest show on turf. But anyway, what would you say was probably like the greatest event that you ever attended as a writer? And then after that, what was the greatest event that you covered?
Well, if I can I also throw in like as a kid growing up?
Yeah.
Because Dimitri Young played for the 1996 Cardinals, and I'll never forget being at this game because I think a lot of fans, they're like, oh, St. Louis, great baseball town. They're always in the playoffs. They're always good. But, like, I was born in 1980, so they made the playoffs when I was 2, 5, and 7. So 7 was right when I was starting, per your previous question, I was starting to learn about baseball, and they made the playoffs. And then they didn't make it again until I was 16. So from 7 to 16, they stunk or didn't make the playoffs, you know. So it was like a big deal when they made it in there in 1996, and they had such a great team. Gosh, there were so many good players. Anthony Dennis, Ron Gaines, Ray Langford, Brian Jordan. He was my favorite player on that team. And they won the first round against San Diego, and they go to the second round, and they're up 2-1. and Dimitri Young pinch hits, and he hits this triple to, I believe, either tie the game or take the lead. And the stadium erupted. And then Jordan hit a home run later in the game, and they won. They were up 3-1 against Atlanta. I'm like, they are going to the World Series. It's happening. And so like that moment, Fred, was like one of the coolest sports feelings I ever had. I love the idea of like being at a game and almost having the action do something to you physically. And which leads me to, it's probably a cliched answer, but the greatest game I've ever been to was Game 6 of the 2011 World Series, to the point that I'm having a book published next April about the 2011 St. Louis Cardinals. And one of the whole chapters is just about how the David Freese triple and home run just like physically did something to our bodies and our brains that nothing else had before and probably will never will again.
And it's amazing how you brought that up in regards to your book, because that was actually going to be my next question. But before I get to that, Miss Williams says when watching football, she enjoyed John Madden. I mean, who didn't like John Madden and Pat Summerall back in the day? She says.
Well, let me ask y'all this. I have a similar story, Ben, regarding baseball, but I'm gonna ask you about the football since y'all just mentioned Madden. I didn't start watching NFL football until the Rams came to St. Louis. Who was commentating our games? Because I know it wasn't Madden.
Yeah, well, because all those games were on national TV.
Right.
So we would, if I recall correctly, we would have. It wasn't like we had our own guy
right.
or woman. I guess there wasn't right. a female broadcaster at the time doing play-by-play. But so I don't think we had a guy, but they did have like radio guys, and I think for many seasons the aforementioned Steve Savard was one of the radio hosts.
Right.
The voice of the Rams.
And
okay, so he was with them before the Greatest Show on Turf was there?
I'm not sure when.
No.
I thought he was there like okay.
No, Bunny, it was Mike Bush was the lead play-by-play guy, and then Steve Savard came in after Mike Bush.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, it was
if Madden was doing it, I don't recall, like you said, it was national broadcast games, but it did help me learn hearing the broadcasters and then watching it, plus asking my father. But if it wasn't for the Rams being in St. Louis, I don't know when I would have started watching the NFL games. But
I know that radio wise, it was Mike Bush and Jack Snow, and then once again Steve Savard took over. Once again, this is Rams radio, and then then after Jack Snow died, then DeMarco Farr took over. But in regards to like Benjamin was saying, it was either Fox, CBS, and then when the Rams got good, and here come Monday Night Football and stuff like that. But and also I just wanted to continue on with Miss Williams, what she said, why she enjoyed John Madden's commentary was because he explained the plays, the offenses, and defenses for those of us who didn't know a whole lot about the sport. So yeah, that was definitely a great reason to enjoy seeing John Madden. He would just be so much energy. Then you had the little sound effects to boom. and then you had Pat Summerall be all dry. This is Pat Summerall here.
So there was the yin and the yang with the football commentating, huh?
Yeah, but it was great football. Great times to listen to them and see them do their thing during that time. So rest in peace to Pat Summerall.
So let me ask you all this as well, because you just said how Madden was a boom and extra, and Summerall was all kind of reserved. In today's football, how they're calling games now, is that still what they're wanting? When I listen to the games on the TV, I don't get that per se. I get a lot of analytics from it, but do I get the extra emotion and the Madden from any broadcasters now? I don't, but I may be, not watching all the games. Do you all get anybody that has
That's a good point? Yeah.
So the only guy that I can think of now who does NFL games play-by-play and brings the energy is Kevin Harlan.
Yes.
Kevin Harlan is the guy that you want to watch. It doesn't matter if he is broadcasting a dog show. He will make it so he would make it so exciting. Like matter of fact, if you go on YouTube, and this is for everyone to watch who's watching the show right now, go on YouTube and just put in Kevin Harlan play-by-play over a cat. It would be the funniest thing you will ever hear. He broke it down. A cat was running from one part of the end zone to another, and how he broke it down, and how he was just so electric with his energy was so electric. Oh my God, it was just amazing. But Kevin Harlan,
I think Joe Buck did something like that during quarantine though, where people would send him videos and he would commentate over it. Like there was like beer pong one and whatnot. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess they're not doing that anymore, huh? He just did it for a certain time. Because I like to see if you take your radio or video voice or even your sports writing voice and put it to something that's non-sports, how does it still sound or come off?
Right.
Yeah.
There's
I could probably honestly listen to Bob Costas and Vince Scully read a book to me every night, and that would be good to go for life.
Hey, matter of fact, it was an interview that Bernie Miklasz had while he was still at 101 ESPN that he had with Bob Costas. You probably heard the interview, Joe, and I can't recall what was the reason for the interview. It was you talking about somebody. No, I think it was Bob Costas going to the Hall of Fame last year, and like he just brought up this story of St. Louis, and it made Bernie cry over the air.
Man.
It's his voice. Like, there's something about his voice. For one, it's just a baseball voice to me. Like he could commentate anything baseball related, and I'll get chill bumps throughout my entire body. But yeah, it's something about his voice. And I remember that interview. I think I got a little teary eyed on the way to work listening to it too.
Is there someone who does that for you as well, Benjamin?
Oh my gosh, she mentioned Vin Scully. I mean, he's phenomenal. I mean, Jack Buck, Joe's father, was the I guess the MC of my childhood. He did so many Cardinal games, and I think a lot of people have the same memory where it's you're going to bed you're a kid and it's a West Coast game, so they're at LA, they're at San Diego, and you're falling asleep to Jack Buck. His voice is literally a lullaby. That's pretty special.
That's what it's like for my husband and I when we were dating in our apartment. We'd just fall asleep listening to Vince Scully, just like all those LA games. But that's all you could watch at night was LA games. But just listening to him talk, it literally, like you said, like a lullaby.
Yeah.
So, Ben, you brought up earlier about your upcoming book. If you don't mind, tell us more about this book again. I know you said this is pretty much highlighting the night that David Freese had the home run. Do you mind putting more spotlight to it? And also, there was someone that, people may know on the show that you asked to assist you with that book.
That's true. I wanted to interview a lot of different fans in St. Louis, and one of them was Mr. Fred Saunders, who shared some cool anecdotes about him squeezing or every, what do you call it, your fingers when you're nervous. You squeeze every finger.
Popping knuckles too.
Yeah.
Hey.
But like cross your finger.
Yeah,
I think your quote was like,
I was doing
every
this.
finger and every toe.
I was doing all this.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the book, it's called 11 in 11, and it comes out next spring for we're getting old, the 10th anniversary of the 2011 St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah.
And the book is the story of that season. I interviewed numerous players, coaches, media members, fans, of course. I interviewed the old governor of St. Louis, governor of Missouri, just trying to get different perspectives on David Freese, on the Cardinals. And what I have is the story of the season, and then I have 11 individual Game 6 stories that are in there, kind of unique stories. Like the governor of Missouri was in Shanghai and he was doing a speech, and his guy came up to him and handed him a sheet of paper that said the Cardinals won, and a lot of these really special stories. One guy was serving our country in the Navy, and he was literally in a submarine during Game 6, and couldn't follow the game because they have all the technology in the world, but they were unable to get a ball game in the submarine. So there's fun stories like that. I interviewed the guy who left Game 6 early.
Oh,
What
wow.
it was like driving home and listening to the comeback. So I love to tell stories. I love to tell stories that maybe had never been told before. And that's what I did.
Nice. I definitely
Well, I
look
will
forward
say
to it.
this: when they won, oh,
You go ahead,
I
Bunny.
heard an echo. Once the Cardinals did secure that W for the World Series championship in 2011, I was at a friend's house watching it. But I was so glad they let us go to Busch Stadium. Like, I didn't think they were gonna let us in, but they was like, "Yeah, come in." So we got to be right. We stood right behind the Cardinals dugout. So all the players still on the field, but we were that close, and we were happy. That good feeling and celebrating like we actually did something. But
Right.
it just felt good celebrating with everybody around us and everybody's high five. You don't know who anybody is from can of paint, but it's like we're all in awe for the Cardinals and how it represented our city. It was just, and it was like a Hollywood script. Game 6, I tell people that all the time. Hollywood writers couldn't write a better script than they did for what happened in that game. From day 3 to that triple on, it was like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, when I was writing this book, like I thought, here's something I thought that by the time I was done, I would be like kind of done with Game 6. That makes sense. I'm kind of hearing an echo, by the way. I hope it's not my computer. But yeah, I wrote about Game 6 so many times in that book, but I swear, even on the last day, I was still getting chill bumps on my arm, just like listening to the audio of somebody's story. I mean, it'll just never go away. That night was so special.
Man, that's awesome. And something else that is awesome that happened last week. I think it happened right a day after our show. And Bunny, Joe, I definitely want to get your opinion on this. And then, of course, Ben. Kim Ng is now the new GM for the Florida Marlins. I know this had to be exciting news for you ladies to hear about this. What were your thoughts when you heard about Kim Ng, now the GM for the Marlins?
I was super excited. And it came to the point my mother proactively was talking to me about it. Usually we don't even talk about sports unless we happen to be watching the game or in the same room. But she called me and was like, "Hey, did you hear?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm excited." And I gave her the background. I didn't know who Kim was before, but I read her background and all that she did in other organizations. Like, it was her time. Of course, she could have done it years ago, but I'm glad she got the opportunity now. But she's paid her dues, so I was really happy for her. And I was like, it's another level for women finally getting through that glass ceiling. With the vice president winning as a woman, we got Kim Ng as a female general manager finally in baseball. And it's funny because we're talking about this a couple of interviews ago. We're talking about the female refs now. Hopefully, we get the first NBA head coach soon. So we're breaking barriers. Still a long way to go, but I was super excited. And hopefully, this opens the door for other women to be in organizations of high decision making and high level money decisions.
And
Yeah, I was excited as well. Like, Brendan came up and told me while he was working, and I had to stop doing what I was doing at work because I had to just go through Twitter or whatever. But yeah, it's exciting. I think a couple of years ago she was actually in the running for the Orioles general manager, I believe. And I was really wanting that because our family's big Orioles fans. But I'm just happy she got a job. It's awesome. And like you said, it's hard to believe that she hasn't had this opportunity yet with her resume. But it doesn't matter. She made it there, and it's another stepping stone.
Miss Williams says that she was excited and a bit surprised that she was the first woman GM in Major League Baseball. Ben, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's historic. It is to me, it was a long time coming. I wish, like you said, Joe said, I wished it had happened with Baltimore years prior. I just love the idea of seeing people post on Facebook. Like I showed this to my daughter, and she's 8 years old, and she said, "Oh, maybe I'll do that someday when I grow up." And clearly that's a touching, beautiful thing to hear. And I know I think it's one of the St. Louis Cardinals employees that works in the front office, and it's a woman, and now I'm sure she's like, all right, I'm on the path. Why not me?
Right.
And I think that's really special.
Yeah. So definitely shouts out to her once again. Look forward to some big things that she will be leading the way for other ladies to take roles just like she's doing right now. Miss Williams says that her company out there in Germany just chose a woman to be the new CEO of the company, and she takes over in April. So that's pretty dope. And yes, I'm sorry, and no,
Yeah.
Miss Williams does not work in Germany, but her company, their parent company in Germany, will be having a woman as the new CEO.
Well, shout out to Mark. Thank you for that.
Yeah, so Mark doing big
Mark,
things.
look, Mark putting in that work to get that woman CEO. Woo woo.
It is Mark putting in the work. Can't go wrong with that. All right, so
But you know what? One more question or a statement. I know Miss Williams just said that, and you all said as far as the first woman GM MLB, and you're surprised it took this long. But are there any in NBA or NFL?
no.
No, not yet.
Tennis, golf?
Yeah, I mean, not in the team sports, but I think, each year, each month, a new story comes out about somebody getting promoted, and it's exciting. And again, I've gotten to know a lot of these people from the different teams, and some of the women that work in the front offices, and it's just so cool because they're smart as can be, and they deserve the opportunities. And because of Kim, that'll probably accelerate the process for more people to get the opportunities.
Mm-hmm. So, some else that I wanted to touch on. This is something that we try to bring up with the last show, but once again, of course, we had issues with the feed, and that's athletes versus sports writers or sports, or should I say the media. So, this was an incident that happened when we had Ozuna as a Cardinal in the NLCS against the Washington Nationals. I think it was like Game 3 when they were in Washington, about to lose Game 4, of course. And Ozuna just had one of those days where he was like 0 for 4, like 3 strikeouts. He had a terrible misplay in the outfield that was crucial during that time. And then after the game, he heard of I guess the players talked about it or whatever, but somehow I got around to him that maybe you, Ben Hochman, had some things to say throughout the game, and it got back to him. And when he got interviewed by your, I believe it was you who interviewed him or someone did, he pretty much really wasn't trying to have any interviews because he was still in his feelings about the game and what happened. And something that I brought up a while back, and like I said, this is something I even brought up on our Twitter, which I give us a follow. And a lot of people were really kind of like dicking in, saying that the media should lay off guys when they're going through a hard time and so on and so on. Chris Ranji from 101 ESPN, he actually had a tweet about it. I think I left a post about it or something, but it was really getting to a big conversation on Twitter about it. But my thing is, if a guy is 3 for 3, hitting 3 home runs, of course, great spirits. You want everybody to talk to you. It's all good. It's fine and dandy. But then when you have that one game where you're embarrassed, and then the media try to talk to you, then you want to try to give them the whole I'm good right now. Do you think that's fair for a guy like yourself and for others who's trying to get that story in, and the athlete wants to act differently when things don't go their way?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. Ozuna wasn't very friendly with the media just in general. Numerous times over the 2 years he was in St. Louis, there was basically the players know, like, if they do anything good or bad that's like key, like 30 people are going to want to interview them after the game, and we're all standing there waiting to interview them. So it's kind of part of the that night. I mean, you said what you said, Fred. I mean, I can't imagine in the 20 minutes. My point is this: I can't imagine him seeing a tweet I sent out about his crappy defense in that game. If he did, that's one thing. But like, I think he just brushed me off because that's kind of the guy he was or is. I stopped him and politely asked him if I could ask him a question, and he just went right past me, which was very unprofessional. And, I've been covering sports since 2002. I've been in many losing locker rooms, and, 99% of the athletes are gracious gentlemen afterwards to do an interview. And, I will say, I mean, when you cover the playoffs in any sport, you see a level of intensity and I guess nervousness that you don't see in the athletes in the regular season. I remember my first year covering the Denver Nuggets. They made the playoffs against the LA Lakers, and Iverson and Carmelo and Kenyon Martin literally just walked past the media and, did not want to talk because they were so mad about how things were going with their team. And it was, I'm sure if we had Kenyon Martin on the show today, he would apologize and say, I didn't mean anything personal by it. But at the time, the intensity is so high, the emotions are so high in the playoffs that something like doing an interview can really rub an athlete the wrong way.
Well, let me ask you
I think
this.
about. Oh, sorry. No, I was just gonna say. I think about it has to be more of a person thing because Colt Wall was a rookie and he got picked off at first with the hottest hitter in the world, Carlos Beltran, up in a World Series, and he sat there in tears and he talked to the media right after the game. Right. That was a lot bigger of a moment than Ozuna having a bad game. So right. I think it's more of a person thing, honestly.
Yeah. That's quite true, and yeah, we've also seen the maturity of athletes over the years. A guy who was kind of a jerk in his first or second year, maybe by his fourth or fifth is more of a gentleman, and give him credit for maturing. We also, especially in basketball, a sport I covered for many years, I mean, a lot of these players start as 18, 19, 20-year-old young men. I mean, when I was 18, 19, and 20 years old, I don't think I was ready to do very professional, serious things. And these guys, because of their talent, their ability, they're thrown into this world. So you also want to give them the benefit of the doubt from that standpoint.
Gotcha. Well, I'm not going to ask to say if it's fair or not, because we know life isn't fair.
Right.
But piggybacking off of, you're talking about 18, 19, 20-year-old NBA players, when they're in high school, they have social media accounts, but as far as how to present yourself to the media and questions, and even for those that go to college, even for some, everybody that's in the NBA did not go to a high-profile Division I school or came from overseas. They didn't have the media like how our American media is. So if they don't want to talk or have a bad game or just, if you say, is a jerk, and let's just say they're like that season after season, I mean, when they signed their name on the contract, did it say you have to have a personality for the media? Now, some contracts, every Blue Moon will have stipulations, do media day, you have to show up for this community service, for the organization. Every Blue Moon, some are like that. But in general, to have a personality for the media doesn't sign a contract or pay them. However, the media does need the players to do their job. But is it, right per se? Because I know we can't use fair. Because they don't have a personality, that's just not their type of way of talking to people via in front of a camera to express what happened, good or bad. Why do we hold that against them?
It's a great point, and I've like I said, I've been in many losing locker rooms, and I feel terrible having to ask people about their failures. It's not a pleasant thing, but it's part of the gig in so much as since the beginning of sports, journalists have interviewed the players so the fans can get the quotes and hear what their favorite players have to say, whether it was just in the newspaper or then on television and radio and now on social media and what have you. It's kind of part of it. And yeah, they don't sign a contract that says like you are guaranteed to do 200 interviews during the season or anything like that. I believe there's something within the collective bargaining or something that very vague. It says like it's hoped that you would be respectful to the media. Yeah, I mean, I understand. Like I'm there. Like I see.
Mm-hmm.
To come back to my point from earlier, how intense times get during the playoffs or even during the regular season.
I could ask Marshawn Lynch. He was only there so he wouldn't get fined.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and and that's the other aspect of it. I mean, there's so many aspects to media, but like now when it's almost like there's a lot of people with different agendas at a post-game press conference. Some people are there just because they want to get on TV. Like I'll never forget, like covering the NBA, we'd be at the NBA Finals, and you have to like state your name and ask a question, and so you've got like all the main newspapers are there, but then like the guys that are raising their hand to ask a question and be like, "Hi, I'm Steve Johnson from the absolute smallest pamphlet newspaper in all of California, but somehow I got credentialed, and now I get to talk to Kobe Bryant, and Kobe, good game." And you're like, my point is, some people are there just to like do it so their friends see them. Other people are there because it's their job to literally, and that's what I'm saying is like, I didn't want to talk to Marcelo Ozuna. It was my job, since I was writing an article for hundreds of thousands of readers of the Post-Dispatch, to ask Marcelo Ozuna about the game. I was, for all intents and purposes, doing my job, and so a lot of people are there just to gather information for the. I think that's something that really frustrates me sometimes, is when fans get on the media for this or that. And we're like, oh my gosh, like everything we do is for the fans. Like all of our hard work is to provide content and perspective and everything like that for the fans, and then the fans get mad at the writers, as it's that always rubbed me the wrong way. But again, I mean, we're public personas, public personalities, and people are gonna throw things at you just like they do the athletes themselves.
And then you got those athletes who go right onto Twitter, start saying all this stuff. But then
but that's a lot of time. What I tell you, when those athletes go on Twitter, stop the thumbs, put the phone down. Because when you're doing it off of emotions, we can take sports out of this. In general, we can be driving down the street, somebody cut us off and hucking and horning us like we crazy. As soon as we pull over and get home, we mad, and we can just call somebody or just start texting and tweeting. Oh, sorry, it's a delay. And our emotions so high, but instead of just waiting and let it de-escalate the situation or, calm down. But every time something happens right away, I mean, it's raw emotion. Sometimes you want that and you do need it for your stories. At the same time, it can hurt you, and then that persona you look bad. And you're not that type of person, but somebody caught you the wrong moment and people run with it. And now every time they see you want to do a story, it's already a pre-something notion. People like, well, he's a chaos in the locker room, or he's that person that always speaks out negatively, And I like, everybody's human, but us as fans don't see that. We're just thinking they're on a pedestal, but I always think of their fans. I mean, they're human. They got families at home. They have to eat like we do. I know everybody doesn't think that way, but sometimes when you talk about the fans get on the media, it's like, well, fans get on the players too. They're on too.
No question. Yeah, I always use Allen Iverson as an example. I mean, if you say his name, most people make reference to his quote about practice. We're talking about practice.
That's classic.
Not a game, practice. And I always, for the most part, enjoyed talking to Allen Iverson as a media member and felt like he was very forthcoming and would be honest. I mean, at the end of the day, I was speaking to a high school kid today who wants to be a sports journalist, and we were talking about strategies. And I'm like, at the end of the day, you're just trying to get quotes or information from the athlete that's valuable to the readers. It's valuable to the listeners or the viewers. And so it's about, and it's about how you ask it. And that's the other thing, like a post game, like some reporters might just like go right at the guy, like, why did you fail in that play? Or what did you do wrong? And the athlete's like, golly, so you have to, like you said, treat them like they're human beings too, and be like, hey, I'll do this sometimes. I'll be like, hey, I know that, like, the last thing you want to do is talk about striking out in that at bat, but I'd, if you don't mind, I'd like to ask you just about what happened there, because it was such an important aspect to the game's result. You know, and hopefully the player is like, all right, he's at least being courteous about this. I'll share information with him.
And my 2 points is, Bunny, like you said earlier, when you sign that contract, you know what you are stepping into. So you can't think that you're going to be any different. My second point is, as I brought up earlier, you can have you could score 45 points, make the game-winning shot, and you want to have all these people around you so you can talk about what you went through, what was your mindset, how it feel hitting that shot. Then you should be the same person that at the end of the day, if you messed up and missed a game-winning shot, went off the rim, or you had a game-losing turnover that cost the game, you should be able to still be that same person. Now, you ain't gonna be excited like, hey, talk to me, but you shouldn't be turning down media and saying, I don't feel like talking right now, because that shows the kind of person that you are, that you're only good when everything is all good and everything goes your way. And that's not going to sell for people who are following you and want to see who you are as a human being, and if you have sportsmanship and etc. Because, like as Ben was saying, it's their job to get the details, to find out what was going on through your mindset, going through this, going through a great play like David Freese hitting the home run in Game 6, or if a guy missed a game-winning jumper, they want to know that raw emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But what about this emotion being? I don't know if you know how personal or some of the personal stuff that these players go through, but they can't say it when you're interviewing them. So let's just say you brought the example, Fred. Ben, you brought the example of somebody striking out, and they don't want to talk to the media, but you worded it differently, being they're like, oh, okay. Meanwhile, he's striking out because he's not focused, because, you know, he got a wife and a girlfriend, and they found out about each other the night before. Yeah. Stuff like that. You know, and it's like they can't say that in the media per se, but that affects them. So I know us as fans are not thinking that we don't know. We live in our lives. We know the player doesn't know what's going on in our lives, but we expect them to only be focused on the game only and perform.
Yeah, that's super fascinating, and we see it a lot. Like, for instance, with the bullpen, follow me on this, with the Cardinals. Every night before the game, manager Mike Schilt knows specifically who is available, who is not available, and such. But he was not going to tell the writers and that, because then the other team will find out before the game. Oh, now we know that John Brebbia is not available tonight for St. Louis, so we'll strategize around that. What I'm getting at is just kind of funny, and you're absolutely right. I think about it all the time. It's like we get a finite amount of information, whether a guy's available or not, how a guy did at the bat, or how a pitch went, etc. But we're not given the information that Steve hasn't slept in 3 nights because he's addicted to pills, or we haven't. I'm just making something up. You know, I mean, anything like that aspect of the humanness of sports is not given to the fans or the media. And you're absolutely right that the guy that struck out 4 times might be going through divorce, and he's not going to advertise that, but and then maybe or not we'll find out about it a year later. But no, I'm rambling, but what I think about that a lot. I'm like, it's possible this guy isn't sucking right now because he sucks. It's possible he's sucking right now because he's going through a very emotional thing that we won't know about. And, you always want to keep that in mind, that maybe a dude's going through something.
Miss Williams said, what about the game where Michael Jordan only scored 9 points? Everyone talked about that for a week, and to his credit, Michael took it in stride. Secondly, Ben, where were you when Tommy Pham told the media that he got stabbed?
I don't think I was there that day because I feel like I would have wanted to follow up. With,
it was on the parking lot that makes y'all feel better. It wasn't like he was on a random street. He was on the parking lot.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Tommy Pham was a phenomenal quote. I really liked to interview him because he would just be so honest about things. He wouldn't beat around the bush. But yeah, I don't think I was there when he. Or maybe now I'm thinking about maybe. I mean, I'm not trying to dance around. I mean, we do literally hundreds and hundreds of interviews. Maybe I was there and I didn't follow up. Now that I'm thinking about it, but regardless, nobody followed up.
Right.
And I don't know what was going off. like, hey, wait, so you were stabbed? Who stabbed you? Or why were you stabbed? Or I don't know. So yeah, there you go.
I guess it wasn't so newsworthy because they're just baseball players. So we want to talk more about his playing skills than just getting stabbed.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, a story was missed.
So someone else who had an interesting time with the media, and now he's back as a manager in baseball, Tony LaRussa. When you heard that he was going to the White Sox, Ben, and then a few days later to find out that he got busted for a second time for a DWI, what are your thoughts on Tony LaRussa? Should the White Sox keep him as manager? Or it should just go ahead and just say, hey, we tried to make this happen already, but it's time to go already because you're doing too much.
Yeah, if that's a tricky one. It sounds like the White Sox knew about it before they offered him the job, so that's theirs. Then they have to, like, now that it's out there in the media and in the world. Like, the White Sox can't be like, oh, what, if they knew that he did it and hired him. I don't think it's fair, as I say this, I'm thinking it through, I don't think it's fair for them to then fire him because there's been a backlash from the fans and the media. Wally Backman, the former Mets infielder, he was hired to be the Diamondbacks manager 15 years ago, whatever it was, and then he got a DUI like right after that or right before that. The team didn't know about it, so the team was like, "Look, we didn't know about this," and they were able to not have him as their manager. So, like I said, it sounds like Tony will probably remain the manager. From a strictly managing standpoint, it definitely was a bizarre story, and it was even more bizarre for me because I was kind of in it, like in a Tony world, because I was writing my book at the time. I was due to the publisher on November 2nd. So, like, my whole, like, orbit was about Tony LaRussa, his final season, 2011. And, 9 years ago, he retired from baseball, and now he's going off into the sunset. And then all of a sudden, it's like he's back as a manager. It was really bonkers to hear. I mean, I think he'll do well because he's never not done well, but clearly the game has changed. We've seen athletes never before be more vocal about social justice issues, about so many political issues. Tony didn't have to deal with that. Not I say deal like it's a bad thing, but that was part of the baseball culture, baseball world when Tony was last a manager, and now he's going to have to manage with that going on. hopefully he can be up with the times.
So let me ask you this regarding Tony. At 70 years old, almost 80, it seems like two questions. What do you think the White Sox has to prove by hiring him at damn near 80 years old and being a geriatric club, trying to manage some younger players? And the other question is, why does he still want to manage? And he's rolled off in the sunset, like you said, back in 2011, and here we are now.
Yeah. So he has a relationship with the owner of the White Sox because back in the 1979, they hired Tony LaRussa to be the White Sox manager. He was there until I think 86, and so they knew each other. And so why did he offer him the job? Even though he's 76 years old, I think benefit of the doubt. He's like, look, Tony's Tony. I don't think he's lost anything upstairs. So if he's available for me to manage my team, which is very talented, the White Sox are a very talented team. Here's a guy that's been in the World Series numerous times, been in the playoffs even more than that times. Why not go with him? Clearly there was backlash and some people saying he's been out of the game for a decade. How can he just jump right back in? But then to Tony's credit, Tony would say, I haven't been out of the game. I just haven't been in the dugout.
Right.
He's worked for numerous teams. He's been in front offices. He even worked for MLB for a while. So he's been around. And I think for him, it sounds like he just he knows he's got one life to live. And he's like, you know what? If I'm still hungry to manage and someone's going to hire me to do it, I'll do it. I've got that fire in me. And it's a unique story because he's been gone for so long, but it is what it is.
Well, okay. Well, I guess we can compare this similar. Look how long Dick Vermeil was out of the game.
Yeah.
And then he got hired with the Rams. And the first 3 years, it was rough. And that last year of their contract, and they got marks. The rest is history.
That's right. One ring later.
And boom.
That's a great analogy. That, and hopefully for White Sox fans, that's what'll happen.
Mm-hmm. We definitely shall see. How much of a treasure do we have in Danny Mac?
Oh my gosh! I hope he goes to the Hall of Fame one day. I think people. Let me try again. I think some people realize how much of a treasure we have in Danny Mac. I think some people are maybe so old school and they think about Jack Buck, Mike Shannon. Joe mentioned Bob Costas earlier. I think they think of these older St. Louis guys and they think of Danny as kind of still this new guy. The reality is Danny's been doing it for a couple decades now. And to answer your question right on, I don't think everybody realizes just how good he is because I've been in other cities and now we all watch other broadcasts, but he is an elite broadcaster and he weaves in the history of the team and the game so seamlessly and so well. He's really a treat to watch. And gosh, yeah, we are lucky to have him in St. Louis.
My husband and I talk about that a lot, about Danny Mac. We were younger, so we got the Jack Buck just, very little in our lives. But Danny Mac is that for us now. I love listening to him, and I feel like he has a little bit of some of the great announcers in him. He does the storytelling. He jokes around. He knows how to call a game. He knows the players. He's just fun to listen to, and I hope he's around long enough for our daughter to hear him, call a ball game too, because I enjoy listening to him. Like this year when we got our butts handed to us by Cleveland, it was a Friday night. Oh my gosh, it was miserable to watch the game, but Danny Mac is he's still gonna make it fun to watch, just to listen to it. So I love Danny Mac.
Yeah, and you catch on to his nuances, and sometimes he'll be pretty honest, if they're not hitting well, he'll point it out. But then other times, if there's a bad turn of events, you can tell how mad he is.
Oh, yeah.
Just by the fact of things he says.
Yes. His
And
tone.
I think we all feel like a connection to him, like because he wants to be like, "Are you kidding me?" and shake.
He's a fan, so.
So he'll just be like, ground out to second, inning over. You know, and we're all like, yeah. So yeah, he is a treasure. That's a great word for him, Fred.
One of the memories I will remember, and I believe it was a series maybe in San Diego a couple years ago, that the plan was for him to have a analyst to join him for the broadcast. I think maybe it was Al Raboski that maybe had to have like emergency surgery. So he ended up doing like the whole game by himself. He kind of like did the whole Vince Scully thing. You recall that a few years ago, Joe and Ben?
I don't, but Joe.
Doesn't ring a bell to me right now, no.
But yeah, he did that like on the fly. Like I said, the plan was for him to have someone join him, but I want to say it was Al Raboski. Before this is way before like Brad Thompson came on and whatever, and Jim Edmonds.
Yeah.
But I think that like heightened my level of respect for him because I saw how he was able to call the game, and it could put me in the mindset of a Van Scully. Which, for those who don't know, Van Scully, famous retired now Dodgers announcer, in which he did all the games by himself. So to have stories ready, to have the stats ready, and then still do play by play, I mean, it was like listen to a big story, a big bedtime story, but you watching baseball, and that's how Danny Mac was for that one game, in which he was on the fly by himself, doing his own thing throughout the whole game. I'm like, man, yeah, this dude is the real deal. Then of course we all know about the call he had with Matt Holliday one of his last games at the Cardinal, and he hit that crazy home run against, and you know how they going around the bases crying and stuff like that. It was just a magical time. But yeah, definitely shouts out to Danny Mac and Ben. You know, hey, pass the word. I'm trying to get him on our show too, so pass the word for us.
I like it.
Pass the word. So, one of the last times I seen you, Ben, was we was doing a commercial shoot for our sports talk show, and we saw you outside of the dome during the XFL season, which sadly happened to be the very last home game for the Battlehawks. And just seeing the people there, it was electric. It was just a great scene. And once again, of course, unfortunately, due to the pandemic, it had to get canceled. But now, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, is now owner, along with his ex, go figure. And he's already said that, hey, it's official. Battlehawks are going to be back. They've already talked to the people who owns the lease at the Dome. What are your thoughts on him owning the XFL and bringing everything back into the fold?
I'm very excited.
The Battlehawk call.
Yeah, I heard Joe do that earlier. There's nothing like coming together as a community for something, and it was fascinating watching these games because everyone came together in part to hate Stan Kroenke. It was like people were uniting just to like show Stan how good of fans St. Louis football fans were, and it was fascinating to see that. But yeah, I'm fired up, and that was a heck of a thing they had going on there.
Right.
And St. Louis was doing it better than any other team, I believe, in regards to attendance. And heck, if I recall, they were going to open up seating in the upper bowl for the game against Los Angeles because they were doing so well. And so that was really one of the sadder stories, sports stories, because of the pandemic. And of all people, The Rock coming in and saving the day. And I can't wait to go to a Battlehawks game and call once again.
Exciting times. And then a few months after XFL left, it was speculation. We was waiting till it was official. Then it got official that now St. Louis will have an MLS team, and they'll be starting in 2023. ran by Carol Kendall Betts. Got the stadium downtown, right by Union Station. How excited are you about having MLS here in St. Louis? And then for the fans to already show why St. Louis is a soccer mecca by already shattering first day records of selling out all the season tickets and everything.
I think it's really important for many reasons. One, I want St. Louis, the city, to succeed. Not, I mean, everybody does, but I mean, like it's home, right? And the city has its issues, but here is a billionaire family saying we want to invest in downtown St. Louis and then make this work, and they are, and it's really cool. And to see, of course, the spirit of the fans, the spirit. I mean, we don't know one player on the team. We don't know the coach, I don't think. But people are into this because it's St. Louis owned. It's representing our city, and it's cool. Soccer's got a pretty cool thing going right now. And of course, an older generation might be like, soccer? Are you kidding me? But Joe, I don't know if you're a fan yourself, but clearly people of your age range are super into professional soccer. And of course, as we literally see with you, Joe, people are having kids and they're going to raise their families. And what are they going to do? They're going to take them to these soccer games and teach them about the MLS here in St. Louis.
Oh yeah, like I went to a Catholic middle school, elementary school my entire life, and like that was bigger than baseballs. Everyone playing soccer, and a lot of them went on to play in high school and college. So a lot of people I grew up with, they've all loved soccer since the beginning of time, and that's one thing me and my husband talked about, not just with soccer, but with the Battlehawks, is now that we're gonna have a daughter, like we're excited to be able to bring her to these games, and soccer is definitely one of them. Like, I've been to a Steamers game and like high school games, but I've never been to a professional soccer game. So I'm really excited for that, and just to bring our daughter with us. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yep, great times coming eventually. Hopefully this pandemic stuff will be a thing in the past by the time it's time for the season to start. So if you had the option, being, which professional league would you prefer to come back to St. Louis, the NFL or the NBA?
Oh my gosh, basketball for sure. The NBA. I love the NBA. I also, over time, have kind of gotten less into the NFL. I don't know. I guess I was gonna go on a rant about the NFL, but I think, to answer your question from a more positive standpoint, I just think the NBA would be so much fun in our town. I think it could work, but clearly it's gonna take another billionaire, and I don't think there's a lot of them just hanging around that want to spend $1 billion on a franchise and then move it to St. Louis. So, I mean, if you're out there, if Miss Williams, for instance, happens to be a billionaire,
yes,
you don't mind considering purchasing the Memphis team and moving that team to St. Louis, I would be okay with that.
Now, this is the platform Sports Talk Show, so please feel free to rant.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, the concussion stuff and the negative reaction to Kaepernick really made me frustrated watching the NFL. And the commissioner, Goodell, he's done so many things just that rub people the wrong way for so long. And then the St. Louis stuff, then they took our team. So, there's a lot not to like about the NFL. So I guess that's kind of what I was getting at.
Got you. Definitely understood. All right, so let's get right back into the Cardinals. We discussed them a little bit. And Miss Williams laughing after I said, yeah, she has $1 billion.
Oh my God. Okay.
Shh. Don't tell everybody, Miss Williams, that you have money. Shh. But no, anyway, so we talked about a little bit of Mike Shield and how he knew about who was available, who was not, etc. I asked Joe this question last week about the Cardinals organization. You see what's going on as the Dodgers won the World Series, the NL West, the Dodgers, you know how they are. The Padres, they're on the come up. The Rockies are the Rockies, Arizona. Okay. NL East, the Mets just got Steve Cohen as an owner. He has money. He already said in press conferences that he will be shocked if the Mets don't win within the next 3 to 5 years. We know where the Braves are. We know where the Phillies are. We know where the Nationals are. And now look at how great Derek Jeter has done with for the Marlins. Everyone laughed at him for what he was doing when he first started, but now he's getting that respect for what he's doing in the East, in Miami. NL Central isn't looking too good right now. Cubs could be going on a decline, could be doing a makeover, a reload. The Reds, they had an okay year, but they probably gonna be losing Trevor Bauer. Pittsburgh is Pittsburgh, and Milwaukee is okay. So it's kind of like the Cardinals may be the favorites by default. How concerned are you as a fan about the future of this organization? Because it seems like we have lost a whole lot of luster, and it didn't make things better when Randy Arozarena had a great postseason this past season.
Yeah, and Marcell Ozuna had an amazing season for Atlanta. Now, I mean, I think it's understood. Like Ozuna, he had some great moments with St. Louis, but I mean, his OPS for 2 years combined was 777. He didn't even have an 800 OPS with St. Louis. To put that in perspective, last season Harrison Bader had a 779 OPS. So he basically did Bader-like stuff for two years. But he was really good last year for Atlanta. Yeah, you're right. It's interesting because other cities' teams make the playoffs, and the optimism is through the roof. St. Louis makes the playoffs and does so in an amazing way in 2020, considering COVID, considering 17 days off, and everything involved with that. But because they lost in the first round, and because Randy Arozarena and Marcell Ozuna blew up, it's like the fans sound like Marlins fans from 4 years ago. Like we're hopeless, we're terrible. I think the Cardinals will be pretty good next year. Are they better than the Dodgers? No. Are they better than? I don't know. But they're. I think they're going to be pretty good. I think they're going to acquire somebody to play in the outfield that's currently not on the team. I think that's important. But I'm frustrated by the offense, but I think that they're going to make changes to fix it. If they don't, then of course, yeah, give me the platform.
And then as Mozeliak admitted that their evaluations need to change because once again brought up Arozarena. Do you think it's time for them to maybe admit, okay, maybe we need to go ahead and do a rebuild by start letting our younger players actually play more, like the Kisners, etc. And when I say this, meaning, do you think it's important for the Cardinals to bring back Waino and Yachty, or is it time to move on?
Well, I mean, I definitely think they should bring back Wainwright if he's cool with doing a 1-year contract. Yachty are complicated by wanting a 2-year deal. I still think that they can make it work, and I mean, when you say let the young guys play, I don't know if like Andrew Kisner is the one that I'm like, oh, they haven't unleashed Kisner yet. Gosh, we gotta get Andrew out there. I think Yachty would be serviceable and remain important to the team if he was the catcher for the next 2 years. I think the guy that I'm really fascinated about that might not even get a chance, and I know Ben Frederickson interviewed him for tomorrow's paper, is outfielder Lane Thomas. Heading into this season, I'm talking about heading into spring training, I was very high on Lane Thomas, thought that he could make an impact, that he would be an impact outfielder this year. well, he got COVID. He had terrible repercussions from it, and he basically had another lost season. But does that mean that he's a bust now? No, I mean, he could be back next year, but that's clearly not what a fan wants to hear. Like, hey, the guy that broke his hand one year and had COVID the next year, I swear he's going to be good this year. You know, they're like, no, give me George Springer or give me Jock Peterson even. Give me somebody from another team that can come here and play. And will that happen? I mean, hopefully they get a bat somewhere. But the reality is, man, now I lost my train of thought. The young guys, I mean, they're letting most of the young guys play. Kisner's just the one that's stuck behind a legend.
Mm. Yeah, and like you brought up with Lane Thomas, of course, he was one of those that was affected by COVID and found out later on that maybe he fully didn't regain all his senses because he didn't have a good year at all out in the field, missed some plays, and then he was lost at the plate. So last year just may have been all out, just one of those years just to say, you know what, it doesn't even matter. Joe, what are your thoughts on Paul DeJong overall? Because I feel like, yeah, we know he had COVID, but it's like he's getting this, what's the word I'm trying to think of? It's kind of like over his head that he's not someone that can stay prepared for a full season. Am I wrong on that?
I don't think so. I mean, I think I was like, not this past year, but in 2019, I was saying like Paul DeJong is one of the most important bats I think in the lineup. I think he could help carry the team for a long time, and then whenever he's ice cold like he was in 2019 for a bit, you know, it was dreadful, and you kind of seen it throughout the entire offense. I do think he gets in his head a lot, though. He thinks he needs to be perfect about everything, and I think that's what really hurts him whenever he gets in these little slumps. But his defense has gotten, 10 times better. I don't know if that's going to change with no Colton, but we'll see. But I mean, I think he's one of the most important players on the field, and then also in the lineup for our team.
Bunny, your thoughts on DeJong, if you have any, and Ben?
Of Paul DeJong, I don't have any thoughts. I actually had more thoughts on Colin Wong. I'm sorry, should come off like that, but on Colin Wong though. I was actually going to pose this question of Ben. Who is, for all the free agents we have on the Cardinals, who was the one that will hurt us the most if he doesn't re-sign? But I'll be honest, I don't have any comment because I could say he's replaceable. If that makes sense. Like,
yeah, and I'll talk on DeJong and also answer your question, buddy. The Wong thing stunk for everybody. I'm making excuses for very rich people, but if very rich people lost like a huge percentage of their revenue last year, I mean, the report said it was over $100 million that the team didn't make. And here was an opportunity for them to save $12 million. Basically, Wong makes $12.5 million. Tommy Edman makes $0.5 million. So they're like, all right, we will let Colton go. We don't want to let Colton go. He's the best defensive second baseman of his generation, maybe. But they did, and maybe Tommy will do okay. It's the most COVID-related front office move I can think of. And maybe the Cardinals will suffer a little bit because of it. But that's also literally a sign of the times. As for Paul DeJong, yeah, he's really interesting because he goes on those streaks where you're like, all right, they've got something here from an offensive standpoint, and clearly he's a good defender. And with the run prevention mindset the Cardinals have had the last couple of years, he's been a key guy because of that. His numbers were really bad this year offensively, but I just feel like I can't stress enough how small the season was. So it was 60 games. Normally a season is 162 games. So not only was it a small sample size of a season, but the Cardinals were compromised in so many ways. I'm making excuses for them, but I stand by this. Like, they missed 17 days of preparation and practice and game playing, and then we're just thrown back into the tornado of a season. I think it was a huge accomplishment for them to even make the playoffs and be over 500. So what I'm getting at is like, would DeYoung and another one real quick? I'm just gonna jump in. The Washington Nationals, their record this season, I don't have it exactly, but it was a losing record, and they didn't make the playoffs. It was almost identical to the same record they had in 2019
when they turned it around
6 games into the season. But what happened? There was another 102 games. They continued to play. They found their stride. They got good. They made the playoffs. They won the World Series. So it's like, wow, like it's basically the same record, 60 games both times. So what I'm rambling about with the Cardinals is like, I don't want to put too much stock in a guy's production or even lack thereof from the 2020 season. But that being said, there's no margin for error. The Cardinals need to make the playoffs and be good next year. So if DeYoung starts stinking early on, you've got to make a change or got to figure something out fast because, and like Fred said, the division's not that good. So you should make the playoffs even if you're just good, not great.
I looked it up, and the Nationals' record this year was 26-34. That's how they.
Yeah, I believe it was like 25-37 the previous year. Isn't that crazy to think it was that close?
But the thing with the Cardinals, even though 2020 in general, we'll say we just throw it away. Like you said, we only did barely a third of a regular season, but they tend to start off the seasons for the last few years slow. April, May, June. Oh, here they go. They show a little bit of light, and then they fall off. But after the All-Star break is when they finally pick it up and get the wheels turning. So what we got, minus almost 2 weeks with no baseball because of the COVID outbreak, and then them going up and down. It's kind of what the Cardinals play like because we don't have consistent offensive players that's constantly giving us offense. But next year, that's why I was actually like Paul DeJong is replaceable. He's like say he's streaky, but he's not consistent enough to where why would we keep him? He's expendable. That's my word.
Yeah. And then Francisco Lindor is out there, and of course that's the hot name.
Saying that.
What's that, Joe?
Don't be saying that. It's not going to happen.
I know. But it's definitely something to talk about. Do you make a trade for him for 1 year? Will he sign long term, et cetera, et cetera? I guess what I'm getting at with DeYoung is like if he's not going to be the shortstop, then who do the Cardinals put in there? That's I think they want to see this DeYoung thing through, and this is a very important year for a lot of important names. And Jeff Albert's one of them, the hitting coach. They have to be better offensively. I'm not saying they have to be the Los Angeles Dodgers, but they can't put the production out there offensively that they did the last 2 years and have him keep his job.
Well, let me ask you this. When the offense isn't hitting or the team isn't hitting offensively, which we know is no surprise based off their personal stats, is that on the hitting coach or is it just cheaper to fire him compared to firing half of the team?
That's a great question, and I mean you can't fire the players per se. I think about that a lot, and I mean how many times in sports has a coach been fired, and then he goes on to another team and does well? You're like, oh, maybe the coach wasn't the problem.
Mm-hmm.
With this, it's you're right. Like when we don't know, like what percentage of a player's production is based on the tutelage he got from the coach. There's not a way to do that. But I guess if numerous guys are not doing well, and anecdotally, numerous guys are talking to Mozeliak and his people and saying, I'm just not clicking with Jeff Albert, then it's like, all right, maybe we need a new culture here, because that's the whole thing is it's like a hitting culture. And Mozeliak was saying that they've seen some positive strides with some of the minor league players and the guys at the Springfield camp and such. So we'll see. But, yeah, you make a very good point. And yeah, like if a dude's not hitting, isn't that on the dude, not some guy that talks to the dude every day for an hour?
Because I look at it this way. Once you make it to the major leagues, you went from more likely, let's say double A. Some people start at single A, but definitely double A, triple A majors. For you to make it from two other teams to a major league team, people have been looking at you and been coaching you along the way. So you had to have something. If you were supposedly offensive bat, that's why they had to iron you to call you up. You had to have something without a coach even looking at you. Then eventually, batting coach, hitting coach help you out. But I just think sometimes when John Mabry was a hitting coach, we talked about the offense then, fired him, and on to the next coach. And I'm like, okay, you see this pattern of firing coaches. We even had, Mark McGuire even, Okay, years later, we still talking about the same problem.
No, yeah.
I probably think front office needs to open the wallets. Instead of just always going with the young team, we can also get some veterans and pay for it. Have a balance. That's my 2 cents. But what do I know?
I hear you. And that's the thing is as we hear all the time, for a team in this market size, they overspend than the other teams that have the same market size. Because the Cardinals, of course, get 3.2 million fans a year. So, yeah, I mean, they do spend, but I think they do spend. I mean, I think they're 9th in spending. I don't have it in front of me. They're in the top tier, but have they spent wisely? And of course, yeah. I mean, I love Dexter Fowler, the guy, but has he earned his money?
No.
At the Cardinals?
Hell no.
Clearly, Brett Cecil didn't, and Matt Carpenter.
Oh God.
I mean that's $50 million.
Don't get Brett started on that, please.
So, yeah.
Well, Joe, I'm surprised you haven't chimed in because Joe definitely, we've talked about this so many times on the show. With opening up the wallets, you're saying we spend well for being a quote unquote small market team, but do we spend wisely? Again, let's take it back to Matheny took over in 2000 and what?
12.
12. Got fired in 2018, so you got 4 years. We talked about it going downhill. Granted, we lost our superstar, and we tried to get some, okay players. But after he was gone, we said Shill was doing a better job per se, at least with the clubhouse and managing. But what he's working with, he's able to piece together only because we're in the Central Division. In the other division, we be at the bottom and just chilling at the bottom. And it's like front office sees this and knows this. So why aren't you spending wisely? Because I always said the Goldschmidt, I thought he was overpaid coming from the Diamondbacks to the St. Louis Cardinals. I didn't think it was worth that much. His numbers were good, but consistently I was like, And now looking at it, I mean, who knows what the market's going to be for players just because of COVID and that making their revenue this year, even though they're still multimillionaires, the owners are. But I'm like, if we're not spending wisely, who do we need to go to? How do we fix this?
I told you last week it's Bill DeWitt. Everyone wants to point fingers at Mozeliak. He has to get the okay from DeWitt. So that's who you point to. He's the owner. That's where it all starts.
Yeah.
So the owner, Bill DeWitt, is okay with us being mediocre year after year, barely getting into a playoff or barely not getting into the playoff. He's okay with this.
And that's the question: is what is mediocre in your opinion? I mean, they made the playoffs in 04, 05, 06, 09, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 19, and now 20. That's a lot of years in the playoffs. That's most of the years in this, century. But they've only been to four, they've been to 4 World
Right.
1, 2. So, ask a Padres fan about that. Ask most teams fans about that. They'd be like, oh my God, I would give my pinky finger, this finger, to have made the playoffs as many times as the St. Louis Cardinals did since 2004. But then here we are saying, oh gosh, why aren't they winning more? So it's interesting.
Are our standards too high as Cardinals fans and as a sports writer? Are we too high standards because we got spoiled over the years, or do we have a right to say it's kind of mediocre right now?
Well, I mean, and that's the great question is, and that's a great point because like we're seeing it with the fans. The fans are mad right now because a lot of it has to do with the Rosarena. But I mean, like they made the playoffs, and again, this 2020 year was so weird. Like it was an accomplishment for them to make the playoffs, but again, it's like they were in the Final Four of baseball in 2019, but the fans weren't happy with why they were or how they got there because there was so little offense. That's where the angst was. Any other city is like, we're in the Final Four of baseball. We're in the NLCS. But St. Louis, because we expect greatness every year, when you only get sort of greatness, it's frustrating because and if they're going to be a run prevention team, they're going to need to at least have a little better offense than the worst offense. Mm-hmm. And that's what they have to do this off season is to find more OPS, get the OPS up. And I think a lot of it is just believing that Paul DeYoung's 650 OPS could really be an 800 OPS next year. Will it happen? We'll have to see.
And then
what's going to happen next year, though, if, my heart's going to break saying this, but say there's no Wong and no Molina, you lost two of your four up the middle defenders, and who knows how much Bader's going to play. So then you got DeYoung, but then again, I think Goldschmidt and Colton Wong were the main reason DeYoung got better. So what's the run prevention going to be like? Carpenter's most likely going to have to play third base if Edman's going to play second.
Right. No, great point. And, I was going through, like a lot of the people do, you look at the advanced stats, and Tommy Edman has a lot of defensive runs saved. He's not going to be as good as Colton Wong, but the question is, how much worse will he be? Maybe, and, again, I'm not them, but they seem confident in that. And I don't know, you're right. I don't know. I mean, Yadier Molina, we how often do we talk about the value he brings beyond statistics? So, yeah, if he doesn't come back and you've got a rookie catcher or a young catcher, yeah, there's no question that there's going to be a drop-off there. You're absolutely right. So, yeah, I understand why fans aren't like, woohoo, let's go. We're on to something here with the Cardinals. I see it and understand it.
And I know, being that pretty soon you have to leave, so I do want to go over a few more things while we still have you on. Right now, I'm about to show to the world another hot topic that's been going on throughout St. Louis, and that's the reversible retro Blues jersey.
I love them.
I like it compared to the Cardinal clown look in the 90s, the reversible one with more red in it. I like that.
All right, so y'all should be seeing it now on y'all screen, Ben and Joe and
I like Cardinal red, the clown look jersey. I'm for it.
Yeah,
like the St. Louis flag, pretty much on a Blues jersey, and I love it.
Okay.
Right, and it's almost like the red is. Am I right on this? It's not as like strong of a red. Is it kind of like a faded red? Am I seeing that right? Regardless, I'm into it. And I think a lot of the other teams' jerseys look really cool too. The Los Angeles Kings. I don't know if you saw that with the purple and gold.
Oh, they put purple in theirs and the Kings?
Yeah. It's really cool.
Uh-oh, guys. We got a comment. Miss Williams says she thinks they're terrible.
Oh, no. That typical billionaire, typical
Yeah, I actually had no problem with them. Last year, before the pandemic, I was fortunate to actually attend a Blues game in which they had the blue retros on, and they look they look very pretty on the ice. I think they played at the Dallas Stars and won that game, but they look good to me in person. So I think, if they open things up next year and they have this red jersey out, I think it'll be pretty good. But yeah, she said she's not feeling it at all.
Well, you have to understand where she and some of the fans are coming from. The name of the gosh dang team is Blues.
But not because of the color.
I know, but it's just kind of funny. Like, they're the blue team, and their color is the opposite color, if you will.
I do think some of my favorites, though, is like Calgary's is really nice. I love the Dallas Stars, the Panthers, and the Capitals. I love how the Panthers have the old school Panther on there, and then the Capitals have the bald eagle on there like they used to.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I can't wait to see all of them.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be better than when the MLB had the white on whites and the black on blacks.
When are they doing that?
Anything's better than that.
It was, I think, 2 years ago. Help me out, Joe and Fred.
I think it was 2019.
Yeah, it was rough.
Oh.
I love, white on white shoes. I love Air Force Ones, white on whites, but with the baseball jerseys, you literally couldn't read the name of the team or who the player was.
Oh, that was so terrible. That was like one of the worst ideas I've ever seen. Like, I mean, like you said, you cannot read the last name. If they had on all white jerseys, you cannot read the last name. It was just like so stupid. But hey, that's
who was over that PR and marketing move, huh?
I was gonna say.
Made that
I was gonna say it was probably someone hand pointed by Manfred, but who knows?
right.
Yeah, let's
See,
just
that's why I need to get more women in those positions. Wouldn't have them problems. See?
Man.
I like it.
All right, so the next thing I want to play is the clip. Bunny, you asked us earlier about a commentator who brings the energy, and I told you about Kevin Harlan and the famous play-by-play call. Well, I have the video and the clip, so for everyone to watch and for y'all to listen, do something like this.
He's walking. He's walking to the 3. He's at the 2. And the cat is in the CDW red zone. CDW people get it. Now police and the state troopers come on the field. The cat runs into the end zone. That is a touchdown. And the cat is elusive. Kind of like Berkeley and Elliott. They don't know where to go. Look at, they're trying to corner him. And they got him in the end zone. There are state troopers all around this cat, which now climbs up into the stands. And the fans are running for the run. How it goes back on the field again. It's running in the back of the end zone. And it runs up the tunnel.
So
yeah,
that was Kevin Harlan doing the famous cat call right there.
Cat call, yeah. Another guy that's really good with energy is Gus Johnson.
Yes.
Do you recall Gus Johnson?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And people don't realize this, but the game, the very first home game for the greatest show on turf when they won that year, Kurt Warner's first start when they played against the Ravens, Gus Johnson was a play-by-play announcer.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
So that was pretty cool right there. But and Ben, what are your thoughts on if everything goes into plan? What are your thoughts on the upcoming Mizzou and SLU seasons? I know that you had a great article last year talking about the Billikens and how much they've turned things around, and looks like they already are preseason number 2 favorite in the A10. But they could be doing some really big things this year. And I know that Conzo just got a nice recruiting class coming up for years to come at Mizzou. But what are your thoughts in regards to both teams?
Yeah, I don't know if Mizzou would make the tournament this year. I really like Xavier Pinson. He plays the guard position with a lot of cojones, if you will. And Drew Smith's pretty good too. They were ranked like 10th, I believe, in the SEC preseason poll. I think that's where they'll probably finish. But the St. Louis U Billikens, they have a squad. Consider that they have 3 different guys who you could say is a candidate for Conference Player of the Year. Most teams don't even have 1. They've got 3. And Thatch is back. Thatch is an amazing defensive player. Gibson Jimerson averaged 10 points as a freshman. He was a good shooter. And, of course, Yuri Collins, the magical point guard from St. Mary's High School here in St. Louis. Like, I'm ready. And Terrence Hargrove, too. He's a player. So
right.
I'm ready to go. Like, let's do this. And I hope they actually play the season.
Yeah, exciting times, and don't forget about the late addition to SLU. He graduated from Vashon, tip of the tongue right now. He'll come to me. He's a point guard. He'll be back pretty much backing up, right behind Yuri Collins. You know his name, but I can't think of his name right now.
Was it the player that was at Mizzou?
No, he Bunny. You probably know his name too. I can't think of it right now. Tip of the tongue, but he went to the V. He just graduated from the V, and he at first he was going to SEMO, but then he changed his mind and then made a last second decision to go ahead and go to SLU. Oh my God, tip of the tongue. But
it's not Cameron. It's not Kobe.
He's the point guard.
They all in the same class.
Yeah, yeah. He's the point guard from Vashon. Let me put his name up. Oh, Phil Russell.
Phil, yeah.
Yeah.
Little man Phil, yeah.
Yeah, so SLU.
Yeah, old soul, young body, yeah.
Yeah, so SLU is gonna have a very deep team, man. We definitely look forward to it, and we definitely we definitely appreciate having another great show with you, Benjamin.
Oh, thanks. I really enjoyed it. It was fun talking sitcoms and sports.
Man, and that theme song you with that I put off on my city, boy. That's gonna be your intro, outro, man.
Love it. Well, thank you for having me. Good seeing you all. Joe, congratulations on the baby.
Thank
talk
you.
to you all soon.
All right,
thanks so much, Ben. Appreciate it.
Good night.
All right, that was Benjamin Hochman from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Great conversations, guys. What y'all think?
Yeah. I didn't realize he was in our age group, but he was funny. Very cool piece, man.
Yeah.
Boy, the family.
Yep, definitely was all good. Real quick, last night we had the NBA draft. I think it's different in a great way, having the whole, everybody at home doing the whole Zoom, however they had it last night. I think it's more of a personal, intimate feeling to be able to be at their homes or wherever they were to celebrate the accomplishments. Top pick of the draft, Anthony Edwards going to Timberwolves. Great pick. They're saying he's like a D Wade but better. Second pick of the draft, Warriors getting James Wiseman, big. A guy they haven't had like that powerful offensive force in the paint since they became Golden State. Now they do. Now, unfortunately, it was announced today that Klay Thompson is going to be out for a second year again, torn Achilles. So you feel terrible about that. Then, now, while we were talking to Ben, Golden State made a trade to acquire Kelly Oubre. He was with the Suns. Then he got traded for Chris Paul to OKC. But now OKC traded Kelly Oubre to Golden State. So Golden State continues to find ways out of no way. So of course he's not going to be anywhere near Klay Thompson, but to have him on the team, Wiggins, a healthy Steph Curry, and James Wiseman, Draymond Green, and so on, Golden State could definitely make some noise. Then of course, third pick of the draft, LaMelo Ball, younger brother of Lonzo. And what I think was so amazing is that Lonzo Ball 3 years ago was drafted by Magic Johnson to go to the Lakers. Last night, LaMelo Ball gets drafted by Michael Jordan. Like, what father can say he got two sons that they both got drafted by probably two of the best top five players in all the NBA? How incredible is that?
Should just be drafted in general, but to say you get drafted by them is crazy.
I mean, that's amazing. Bunny, we can't hear you.
My bad. That good old mute button. What I was gonna say, going back to LaMelo being drafted number 3, real quickly. You know how all that drama with what's the daddy name?
LeVar
Ball and Matt Johnson Lakers, and they on a low, or at least on the side, told him to quiet your mouth or we gonna ban you, which they did. We know Michael Jordan franchise ain't had the best with draft picks, let alone a franchise isn't further along like it should be as far as getting a decent squad and making playoffs year after year. But we know one thing. MJ is silent killer, but he ain't going for that for LeVar to be mouthy if he don't like how LaMelo's doing with Charlotte. If they don't trade him.
Mm-hmm.
But
And
I
then,
don't know.
once again, Chris Paul going to the Suns. Anthony Davis, he turned down an offer to sign a 30-something point mil extension for the Lakers. He'll be a free agent. Gordon Hayward just announced he's going to be a free agent. And then probably the biggest news of all is, James Harden saying he turned down $50 million to resign with, of course, stay with Houston because he wants to possibly join the Brooklyn Nets and join Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. I wish we had Stan on so we can hear his reactions.
I got two things with that, though. So one thing, right on the street, they're hard want to leave Houston and not just to join KD and Kyrie is because the Rockets owner was a big Trump supporter and donated heavily to him. And that's when the politics mixed with the sports, and Harden didn't like it. Now, who knows how true that is, but that was word on the street. The other thing, I just had this conversation the other day. Harden, alpha male. Westbrook was an alpha male. And CP3. So they traded CP3 for Russell Westbrook, and you got the same result with Harden and Westbrook. Changes now to the Nets. Kyrie's dominant, ball got to be in his hand. Harden got ball got to be in his hand. KD, ball got to be in his hand. Who's going to step back? Who's going to be from an alpha male to a beta male and let the person, main two, get the touches? I got to see how this going to work because how they play right now,
right.
I don't see it working long term. Short term season or even 72 games? Maybe. Playoffs?
Yep. That's
too much dominance, and all three of them cannot have equal touches of the ball for them to progress and play correctly, especially when we're talking about playoffs. But also, what's the biggest thing? Forget regular season, the playoff for teams to go far and make it. When your stars are sitting, the score needs to keep going. Who does the Nets have on their bench to keep the scoring going if you got 2.5 or 3 people that's going to still keep scoring?
Well,
sit down.
That's going to be the good thing about that team is that, of course, they're not going to be on the floor every second of the game. Harden and Harden, Irving, and Durant. There'll be times in which you have one, or you may have 2 of them out 3 on, while the other one's resting, and vice versa. So they'll be able to find a way to make that happen.
And the close games, though, they will have to look. I mean, all other big teams that have superstars do that. I mean, we had some Warriors. You can say Clay and Steph will sit down separately, but when it comes to fourth quarter, if it's a close game, they're playing together with KD. Well, there too. They did it. I mean, good teams do that. The Clippers did it too, but I just not seeing it. But maybe somebody's gonna take that step back. Otherwise, it's not gonna work.
Right now on your screen, I'm showing the football games from last week. Some very good games. Pittsburgh is still undefeated. New England, they ended up beating Baltimore. I said this last week, Bunny. I don't know if you saw the game at all, but it's not looking good for Baltimore.
On Sunday? Yeah, I watched the Ravens. And funny thing, when I was watching it, I'm like, Fred said they got hip to it, and Lamar Jackson admitted they got hip to his game. He was passing a little more, but it didn't equate to enough getting in the end zone.
Yeah, so they need to definitely watch out because it ain't looking too good right now in Baltimore land. It's not looking.
I'm not gonna write them off. I mean, they still got above a 500 record. The division is competitive because if they was in the NFC, what's the one with the Cowboys in them? That's the South?
The NFC East.
Oh, the East? They'll be runaway, but they're not. However, I wouldn't write them off yet, but yeah, definitely be concerned. So in the off season, he got to get with a quarterback coach. Got to go get some receivers that'll help him in the off season. I mean, forget them just getting hip to his game. He has to evolve his game.
Drew Brees, he's going to be out for a few weeks due to 5 broken ribs. So
collapsed lung.
And and all kind of issues. Sound like he an old man. I forgot he
I was
is.
about to say, like, he should have a walking oxygen tank. I mean, at this point, sheesh.
Right. Should we gotta
Can he
find.
breathe on his own?
We gonna find out who gonna have the hardest time walking, Joe or Drew Brees. And then Monday Night Football next week should be a great game. Los Angeles Rams at Tampa Bay. That should be a pretty interesting game. Your thoughts on that?
I don't like that team that used to be in St. Louis, so I hope they get that L. I mean, I'm not a Brady hater. I'm not a pro Brady, but I hope he lights them up.
Yeah. All right.
Plus, looking at the weapons that the Rams have offensively, I mean, it's going to be probably a good scoring game, but I just hope the Bucs go over and beyond. That's all.
Yeah. And last but not least, it's an honor. I had this post earlier today. If you didn't see it, shame on you. But starting next month, every first Wednesday of the month, we will have Ladies' Night. Every first Wednesday of the month, same time as usual, and it's going to be hosted by
Bunny!
Definitely excited, man. As we said on the post, there's a change, there's a shift in the sports atmosphere, and the ladies are showing out. Look what Kim Ing is doing. What the ladies in football, you have an assistant coach on the field doing things, referees. Possibly in a few years, maybe you're gonna have a coach. In who knows what sport it's gonna be. But Bunny, just tell everybody to you how much this is big and how much it means to you and what you plan on doing for this ladies' night.
Well, what do I plan to tell the people? I want to give the people what they want. Good entertainment. What do you call it? Sports, non-sports, women's perspective, just sports perspective / finally, we get little platforms. You said it earlier with the MLB GM, and we got women NFL referees, NBA women referees, and assistant coaches, and we add to the mix. But I'm excited, and I just can't wait. Hopefully everyone tunes in, give us thoughts, feedback, interact like we do with this show. As always, interact. I can't wait. And 2 more weeks. We're gonna get it popping.
And Joe, how you feel about everything?
I'm excited, but I'm a little nervous because everyone knows more about like basketball and football than I do. I feel like so I'm a little nervous for that, but it'll be fun.
Yeah.
No, don't be, because trust me, I know basic hockey. You know a lot about hockey. However, we feed off each other. We make it work, right?
Yeah.
There it is. Ladies supporting each other, and this is just going to be a whole different dynamic. It's going to make this show even better, even stronger, and we definitely want all the ladies. Fellas, of course, show love too, but we definitely want the ladies to spread the word now. Let everyone know about this special event that's about to go down every first Wednesday of the month. With that being said, that is our show for the evening. We will be announcing very soon a special guest for next Wednesday as we're back on our regular Wednesday schedule. But
what? The day before Turkey Day?
Yep. Yep. So get ready. Maybe we'll share some recipes. Who knows?
That's the problem. I'm going to be starting on the recipes on Wednesday. The good cooks, wait till the day of.
Hey, so with that being said, it's possible that you may have your setup while you cooking, huh?
In the kitchen.
In the kitchen.
I signed up to do something, so yeah.
Hey, let's get it. But we look forward to
Look, I'm going to be over here, Joe. I'm going to be over here mixing. And like, Kenny, y'all see that sports and then turn around, turn this on the oven, taking this out. Trust me, Joe. You can laugh, but you're going to be doing it when Baby Joe is here. The art of multitasking, you master.
I hope so. I'm not too good at it right now.
You will master it, honey.
Yeah, you're gonna be a natural. We all look forward to baby Bova very soon. You got to make sure that you give her the nickname Caw.
Oh yeah.
Or she gonna come out the womb. Mommy, I'm here.
Yeah. All right, but once again, for everyone who tuned in tonight, thank you very much for joining us for this special Thursday night edition. Of course, if you didn't see the full show, you can always go check us out on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube. Make sure y'all subscribe. Click on that.
What? I said, button, Lord. Bam.
Button.
You need to go.
And y'all know why?
Right,
I said
right.
button, because I got a button right here.
Hey, and Bunny, I'll see about that bell for you very soon.
Please, because this button is no bueno.
It ain't it. It ain't it. Stan, I think I saw him tune in a little bit, left a comment. So thank you very much. We'll hopefully have you on back with us next Wednesday. Joe, once again, thank you very much. Bunny, as always, you the best. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, DJ Smooth.
All right. So when it's about sports,
it becomes our business.
and business continue to pick up. Y'all be safe. Y'all be smart out there.
You too.
Wear your
Mask up, mask
wear
up.
your damn mask, people. Wear your damn
Mask
mask.
up, mask up.
And with that being said, we out, right, we out.